What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and today is going to be absolutely full of news stories. I know that some of the kind of reoccurring stories have been getting kind of stale, but I could tell you with great confidence, I've got a great lineup of videos for you today. So if you haven't yet, please do click that red subscribe button down below the video. It'll be the only way you really ever find my videos, and I greatly, greatly appreciate your support. Now, last night, there was a new hidden video drop, which was subsequently followed up this morning by PV. Now, I say PV because I'm not sure exactly how these videos, they're usually buried, censored, deep. And based on the topic of this video, we know that it's going to be a big no-no, but I think it's important to cover. And that's why I'm really, really, really thankful that I have sponsors that don't really care. They just let me kind of run their ads in the videos that I see fit. And you guys always do a great job supporting them. So quick shout out to this video sponsor, Mech Arena. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Mech Arena. Look, I love playing games with my friends, and sometimes that's the only time we have to hang out. That's what I love about Mech Arena. It's perfect if you like those co-op or team play shooters. You can play 2v2 or even 5v5. Invite friends to custom matches or play alongside them in tournaments, all in super short gameplay sessions and on my phone, so I can spend more quality time with my friends blowing stuff up. There's an absolute ton of maps in this game that all require a little bit of different strategy to play and win. If you're in the Forbidden City, for example, you want to make sure that you can fight at long range. My favorite tactic, though, is to jump around on the rooftops with the Lancer. The other team never expects the attack from above. Also, if you look at Paradise Plaza, it's something I absolutely love the look of. So rich and cool, but buried under the sand, it feels like I'm fighting in a tomb or something. There's an absolute ton of events happening in-game right now, all the way through the month, where you can get amazing daily welcome rewards and a bunch of awesome weapons, including Mech Arena's hottest new weapon, the Disc Launcher. On top of that, there's a ton of special Halloween events to take part in, and some extra special Halloween skins to win. It's a completely free game to play on Android and iOS. Use my personal link or the QR code right here to get Desert Digital Skin, 200 A-coins, and 10,000 credits to help kickstart your game. And if you're quick, you can add me as a friend. My username is Colt's Dad in game, and we can play some matches together. So don't wait around. Pick up Mech Arena today. If you have your phone in your hand, use the link in the description, support the channel, and try out the game. I bet you'll like it. Now, last night, Project Veritas released a part 4 of their hidden camera series. In this particular one, they interviewed or recorded 3 different employees for Pfizer, and each one of them had an interesting statement or two about things. Now, I want to point out first and foremost, Susan, please hear me as I tell my viewers, I am not a doctor. Also, I am not in the business of judging people for what they do with their bodies whatsoever. I also am not exactly sure that I would call, a lot of people are focusing on one particular angle here, and that is that, the antibodies, our antibodies are better than, the claim that our antibodies are better than the poke. I don't really think I was surprised to hear that. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I would assume that your body's natural immunity is, in fact, better tuned. We have, thousands of years of evolution to kind of back that up. That said, I don't think this necessarily proves that you shouldn't get it or that, it doesn't work. I don't think it proves any of those things. But what I do think was interesting is the other admissions by these employees about how their entire industry is run by coof money now. They're making billions of dollars. You can see Nick Carl, a scientist for Pfizer, quote, "When somebody is naturally immune, like they got the coof, they probably have more antibodies against it. When you actually get it, you're going to start producing antibodies against multiple pieces of it. So your antibodies are probably better at that point than the actual poke. I don't find this that shocking. Obviously the catch-22 here is, or the catch is, you have to get it first. Now, people who have got it and beat it, I think have a good argument for saying, hey, I have the antibodies, why do I need this? I think that is one kind of argument that gets bolstered by this. This is, excuse me, Pfizer, saying like, hey, yeah, well, it should be just as good. Chris Croce, a senior associate scientist, says, quote, you're protected longer if you have a natural antibody compared to the poke. Again, this proves that, natural immunity, or people that have gotten over it, should be viewed, in my opinion, similarly as somebody who's received the poke. That's how I interpret it. But again, I'm not a doctor. He writes, I work for an evil corporation. Our organization is run by coof money. Another scientist says, if you have the antibodies built up, you should be able to prove that you have those built up. And I agree with that. So I'm going to do a collab, hopefully tomorrow, with Ryan Long. You may not see that video for a little while, but in order to see him, the venue is requiring a passport, something I'm unwilling to provide. So he negotiated with them that, I could also show a negative test, right? So now I have to go to CVS Pharmacy tomorrow, get a negative test. This is not something I support, but it is a decision I'm making so that I can bring this content to you. And, I think that, or if I have these antibodies, I should be able to prove that, or I should be able to. I don't support anyone mandating anything. I don't support anyone asking for these things, but I do think it's interesting that they've basically said this. Now, I'm not sure that that they've ever outright denied this. Nick Carl, a scientist who's directly involved with the Pfizer poke, said that natural immunity is more effective than the very poke he works on. But again, I know my audience is probably about 50-50 on this. Again, you have to get it and beat it to have them. One other thing that I thought was interesting, as we'll talk about in a minute, one of the guys talks about how whatever that thing Rogan did, monoclonal antibodies or whatever, he says that it's been pushed aside in favor for money reasons. That's his opinion, obviously, but it's an interesting one. When somebody is naturally immune, like they got it and beat it, they probably have more antibodies against the virus. Again, I am not blown away by this, but it is interesting to see on tape. By the way, shout out to the various beautiful men and women who get these guys who prove the honeypot still works. And you can see here a second Pfizer official, senior associate scientist, Chris, corroborated Kyle's assertion about the immunity derived from antibodies. Now, again, what I find interesting here is that, so the Veritas journalist says, so I'm well protected with antibodies. Yes, like as much as the poke, quote, probably more, quote. Veritas journalist, like, how so? Like, how much more? Quote, you're protected more, most likely for longer, since there was a natural response. Then he expressed dismay with the company's direction and moral compass. Veritas journalist, so what happened to the monoclonal antibody treatments? The employee says, quote, it got pushed aside. Veritas journalist, why? Money. It's disgusting. So I thought, actually, I found that, the treatment stuff more curious. I still believe that, that, pokes work, and that in general, what I can tell about, what I've gleaned about this particular one is that, if you get it, these symptoms will be more manageable, which I think is extraordinarily important for a lot of people, including people who are not just at risk, but people who maybe, don't want to risk, or weigh their, they weigh their options, and they don't want to, risk being out of work for a month. I have my mother-in-law is in the hospital right now with it. Not great. So, I mean, I think I actually don't know if her poke status, to be honest with you, if she has it or not, but I know she's in the hospital with it. She'll be fine, from what I can tell, or from what I've been told. You can't visit them, which is always great. The third scientist, Rahul, admitted his company demands that its employees keep the information from the public. We're bred and taught to be like the poke is safer than actually getting it. Honestly, we had to do so many seminars on this, like you have no idea. Why do these people say like so much? Hours and listen, like you cannot talk about this in public. He also signaled that proof of antibodies is on par of proof with poke. If you have poke antibody, or if you have antibodies built up, you should be able to prove that you have them. Yeah, I'm actually shocked. You know what I'm mostly shocked about? Only one single article on opindia.com is covering this. It tells you that the media doesn't actually care. I mean, can we at least cover the idea that, you know, excuse me, that they're obsessed with the money and that the money is driving decisions and that maybe they're making decisions about putting other things aside so they can make more money with this? I mean, it's at least possible, right? I'm actually shocked that this video is still up on Facebook, and 30 minutes ago, they just released, you know, the actual confrontation, which is hilarious. I'm not going to rob PV of any of their views. I think you should watch their video, and I think you should make up your own mind. You know, it seems like a lot of doubters of, you know, PV always seem to say, oh, it's deceptive editing, blah, blah, blah. Yet they, you know, swallow hook, line, and sinker everything CNN airs about videos and things like that. To me, I mean, you don't need the context is right there in the video, and you have 3 different sources talking about how they think, you know, they've got to make life horrible on people that don't have it to get them to do it. You know, it seems like they support removing people's freedoms, you know, if they don't have it. These are concerning things to me. The fact that they may have an enormous amount of data or information that they're just not putting out there because they want people to you know, go buy their product. Pretty interesting stuff. Let me know. I'll be interested to hear what you think. I know, you know, most of my audience basically reluctant, you know, many people who got it reluctantly got it. You know, I don't have any of these like weirdos that wear the t-shirts, like vaxxed t-shirts like that loser Philip DeFranco. So I think most people in my audience kind of approach this with a level head. I'm not exactly shocked and appalled that a drug company is more interested in making money than anything else. This is not anything new. This is something liberals used to talk about before they got in bed with these companies. What I think is interesting is that they may be pushing aside other treatments and other opportunities, and that they also admit freely that if you've had it and you've beat it, then you should at minimum be allowed the same freedoms around, you know, in these businesses as somebody who's gotten the poke. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be looking forward to the comment section down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.